My name is Tara Gray, and I will be doing my speech on Leonard Peltier. Leonard Peltier is a Chippewa and Lakota Native American born in Grand Forks, North Dakota. In his teenage life, he attended the Flandreau Indian School and later relocated to Seattle. It was in Seattle that he began addressing issues in the Native American world. I'm doing this speech today to shine light on his accomplishments and selflessness. Leonard Peltier, a man who is one of the longest-serving political prisoners in American history. Leonard Peltier had many great accomplishments. Peltier provided leadership for Native Americans, sacrificed his life, and is serving time as an innocent man. Peltier was one of the leaders of AIM, the American Indian Movement. The American Indian Movement was founded in 1968. The advocacy group was founded with the ultimate goal to address sovereignty, treaty issues, racism, and issues in Native American life. First, Peltier provided leadership for Native Americans. According to France Madison, another participant in the American Indian Movement with Peltier, Peltier was a well-established Native American artist and writer. His writings became popular after his incarceration. As a Native American, no matter how established we could have become in this time, it would go unnoticed. But Leonard Peltier made a voice for Native American art. I'm going to read you an example of Peltier's unique and captivating writing. Doing time creates a demented darkness of my own imagination. Doing time does this thing to you. But of course you don't do time. You do without it. Or rather, time does you. Time is a cannibal that devours the flesh of yours day by day, night by night. That was a writing from one of his prison writings, My Life is a Sundance. According to Leonard Peltier, in letters personally received, when the American Indian Movement was at its peak, it was also a difficult and dangerous time for its members. This was a time when police brutality, racism, and violence towards Native Americans was not an important issue to non-Native communities. Regardless of these ongoing issues, Peltier repeatedly put his life on the line, leading protest groups, speeches, and more. Although Peltier was part of many different organizations, his work in AIM is undoubtedly made the biggest impact. To review my first main point, Peltier provided leadership for Native Americans. I'm going to move on to my second point. Peltier sacrificed his life for Native Americans. According to the Leonard Peltier story, a credible documentary led by Sierra Warsaw, due to his involvement known with the American Indian Movement, Peltier was asked to come to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Peltier's initial plan was to speak for Native Americans on their behalf to uphold rights that were in attempt to be taken away from the natives of that area. Peltier was later arrested and still remains in federal prison today. According to online articles found at freepeltier.org and amnestyusa.org, on June 26, 1975, during a confrontation involving AIM members on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, FBI agents Ronald Williams and Jack Kohler were shot dead. In 1977, Leonard Peltier was convicted of their murders and sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences in federal prison. The 2 agents were in Pine Ridge in search of Jimmy Eagle, who was convicted of charges not related to AIM. Along with the 2 agents' deaths, a Native American, Joseph Stuntz, was also killed in the incident, but his death was never investigated. Many people were involved in the shootout of 1975. Although Leonard Peltier does not deny that he wasn't at the incident, he does deny killing of the 2 agents that day. To review my second reason why we are honoring this leader, Peltier sacrificed his life for Native Americans, which leads us to the first doubts about the legal proceedings of the trial of Leonard Peltier. And now we will move on to my final and most critical point. Leonard Peltier is an innocent man serving time. Using information from the film Incident at Oglala, the Leonard Peltier Story, a documentary led by Michael Apted, I wanted to share this information that has been further investigated that shows the flaw in the trial of Leonard Peltier. A few years after he was convicted, documents were released to Peltier's lawyers. The documents contained critical information that would have assisted Peltier's case, but they were withheld during the time of the trial, and the reason for that was unknown, as the documents were claimed to have been misplaced. In the records by investigation, there were improper conduct by the FBI agents during their stay on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Later, in 1991, Gerald Heaney, the judge who ruled the Peltier case, admitted the FBI used improper tactics in securing Peltier's extraction from Canada and in otherwise investigating and trying the Peltier case. A piece of evidence that was claimed to would have been highly contentious matter of evidence in the trials was also tampered with before the trial. It included Leonard Peltier's alibi and claims given against him by the FBI. Early evidence claimed that a bullet that lay next to one of the dead bodies belonged to a gun that Peltier owned. Investigation to that later proved that the bullet did not come from Peltier, although this evidence was also withheld from the jury during the trial. When Peltier appealed his conviction, the charge was illegally changed to aiding and abetting in 1992. Along with the information I provided, that is only a small piece of evidence tampering and other doubts about the trial. But it does not end here. According to recordings, interviews, and claims done by several witnesses at the shooting, a key witness to the investigation, Myrtle Pourbaix, claimed she saw Peltier murder the two agents by gunshot. Later, during the trial, Pourbaix disclaimed her statement. Even having retracted her statement, her original statement was still used in the trial, and she was not allowed to speak on Peltier's behalf of his defense. In 2000, she released her reasoning for retracting her statement, saying that her original statement was the result of months of threats and severe harassment from the FBI agents. Although anyone can make these claims about testimony from 6 more witnesses were also taken back, alleging that the FBI had tied them to chairs, denied them the right to talk to their attorney, and otherwise coerced and threatened them. In review, the case of Leonard Peltier has too many flaws in it to make this large of a conviction. Injustice of Native Americans has been an issue revolving around for years, and Leonard Peltier tried to make a change and sacrificed his life to do so. Leonard Peltier was becoming a strong voice for Native Americans and was successfully making a change for them in the 70s. He had quickly gained many followers, and people noticed. Because of this, he was victimized, and he is now forced to live the rest of his life in federal prison to this day. Peltier has had a number of requested parole hearings and is still denied because he did not accept criminal responsibility for the murders of the 2 FBI agents. Even after almost being granted during one of the hearings, when the commission claimed, and I quote, "The prosecution has conceded the lack of any direct evidence that you personally participated in the executions of the 2 FBI agents." Leonard Peltier is currently living his life in Florida, which is far away from his home, in a result of rarely being visited by his family. He is 69 years old and still fights for his freedom. Peltier can be written today and responds to all of his letters. Online there are many petitions and events to attend on his behalf. Leonard Peltier was an important Native American in Native American life because he provided leadership, sacrificed his life, and is serving time as an innocent man.